4,000 years ago, in the land between two rivers, a civilization rose that would shape the entire course of human history. They built cities that touched the sky, wrote laws that governed millions, and studied the stars with a precision that still astonishes scientists today. But Babylon is also a civilization wrapped in mystery, buried under centuries of legend, myth, and deliberate distortion. Tonight, we're going to separate what is real from what is myth, and what has been misunderstood for thousands of years. This is Babylon. Before we dive into the mysteries, let's establish who the Babylonians actually were, because even this is widely misunderstood. First misconception: Babylon and Mesopotamia are the same thing. Many people use these terms interchangeably, but that's wrong. Mesopotamia is the broader region, modern-day Iraq, home to multiple civilizations, including the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. Babylon was one powerful city-state within that world, not the whole story. Fact number 1. Babylon was founded around 2300 BC as a small port town on the Euphrates River. It started small, but under King Hammurabi, around 1792 BC, it exploded into one of the most powerful empires the ancient world had ever seen, stretching across all of Mesopotamia. Carved onto a 7-foot-tall black diorite stele, the Code of Hammurabi contains 282 laws governing everything from trade and wages to marriage, crime, and punishment. It was discovered in 1901 in modern-day Iran and is now housed in the Louvre in Paris. This is not legend. This is hard archaeology. While impressive, Hammurabi didn't invent law. The Sumerian Code of Ur-Nammu predates it by at least 300 years. What Hammurabi did was systematize and scale law like never before, making it public, carved in stone, visible to all citizens. That was the real revolution. Every time you look at a clock and see 60 seconds in a minute, or 360 degrees in a circle, you are using Babylonian math. Their sexagesimal system, base 60, was incredibly sophisticated and allowed for highly accurate astronomical calculations that wouldn't be matched in the West for over 1,000 years. On clay tablets known as the Enuma Anu Enlil, Babylonian sky watchers recorded centuries of astronomical observations. They developed mathematical models to predict lunar and solar eclipses, and they were right. Modern astronomers have verified their predictions. These weren't just priests making things up. These were the world's first real scientists. Here's one that will shake you. The relationship between the sides of a right-angled triangle, what we call the Pythagorean theorem, was known and used by Babylonian mathematicians over 1,000 years before Pythagoras was even born. The tablet known as Plimpton 322, dating to around 1800 BCE, proves it. Pythagoras likely learned this during his travels to Mesopotamia, and the rest is history. His history. This is perhaps the greatest mystery of the ancient world, not because of what we know, but because of what we don't know. The Hanging Gardens are listed as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, described by Greek historians as a towering paradise of lush greenery rising above the desert. Breathtaking, magnificent, legendary. There's just one enormous problem. No Babylonian text ever mentions them. Not one. No inscription. No archaeological evidence has ever been found in Babylon itself. The latest research by historian Stephanie Daly suggests the Hanging Gardens may have actually existed, but not in Babylon. Instead, they may have been built in the Assyrian city of Nineveh, about 300 miles to the north, by King Sennacherib. The stories may have been misattributed to Babylon over centuries of retelling. Verdict: the gardens likely existed, but calling them the Hanging Gardens of Babylon may be history's biggest mislabeling. The Tower of Babel story from the Book of Genesis describes a massive tower built by humanity in Babylon, so tall it reached the heavens, which God destroyed and scattered its builders across the world. For centuries, this was taken as pure religious allegory. But here's where it gets interesting. Babylon DID have a massive stepped temple tower called the Etemenanke Ziggurat, which may have stood up to 90 meters tall, dedicated to the god Marduk. Ancient texts describe it as touching the sky. The historical consensus: the Tower of Babel story was likely inspired by the real Etemenanke Ziggurat. The myth grew from a real structure, but the divine destruction narrative remains in the realm of religious tradition, not documented history. Thanks largely to its portrayal in the Bible as a symbol of sin and corruption, Babylon has carried a reputation for centuries as a wicked, immoral city. But archaeology tells a completely different story. Babylon was a center of trade, scholarship, medicine, law, and art. It was cosmopolitan, multicultural, and in many ways more advanced than its contemporaries. The evil Babylon narrative was largely political, written by its enemies and rivals. One of history's most anticlimactic conquests. According to the Cyrus Cylinder, an ancient clay document considered one of the world's first human rights charters, entered Babylon peacefully, presenting himself as a liberator rather than a conqueror. The city gates, by most accounts, were simply opened. No epic battle, no fire, just a change of rulers. The idea that Babylon was reduced to rubble and wiped from the earth is romantic but inaccurate. The city continued to exist and thrive for centuries after its fall, through Persian, Greek, and Parthian rule. Alexander the Great even planned to make Babylon the capital of his empire before his sudden death in 323 BCE. The city gradually declined over centuries, not in one dramatic collapse. Babylon was not a myth. It was not pure evil. It was not simply the backdrop of religious stories. It was a living, breathing civilization, brilliant, complex, and deeply human. It gave us our concept of law. It gave us our measurement of time. It mapped the heavens centuries before Greece, and it built wonders that may have been so spectacular, even their memory became legend. The real mystery of Babylon is not what it destroyed. It's what it created, and how much of it we are still living with today, without even knowing it. The truth is out there, and it's only a few minutes away. If this blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe to Few Minutes, because the next mystery might just change everything you think you know.